G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And I've just bought a dirt cheap BMW 330i. Why? Well, because it's excellent, of course. It comes lavishly equipped with a missing headlight washer cover and horrible aftermarket fake carbon fibre splitters down here to not make it look like the M Sport version that the previous owner couldn't afford to buy. The passenger side headlight is full of wildlife and is completely cracked. It's had a passenger side door mirror delete for extra weight saving, and that weight has been added straight back on with the plasti dipped wheels on top of what can only be described as the worst factory BMW wheel design ever created. It has a dashboard full of warning lights, and the steering wheel is always pointing towards Poland. The scuff panel is not here, and just now it has sprung a massive coolant leak. From that list of features, I think you would agree that this is some truly desirable, fine German engineering. In all seriousness though, once this receives the Kiwi Car Life treatment by the end of the video, it should turn out to be a really nice example. It's well equipped. It's got part leather, part cloth, electric memory seats, automatic lights and wipers. It even has had New Zealand navigation loaded onto the iDrive screen, dual zone climate control, it's got a sunroof, it even has a cool drawer in the boot that you can put extra knickknacks in. So let me tell you the story of how I picked this car up, and then we'll get into the process of restoring it to its former glory. Some of you may remember that I bought a Z4 for my girlfriend Angel on Valentine's Day this year, and she loves it. But now, after seeing me and Angel's cars, her younger sister Frankie wants a BMW too. And those that have seen my Are BMWs Reliable video will know if you want the excellent BMW driving experience but with the most reliable engine possible, something powered by the N52 is a great option. I've owned countless cars with that engine and all have been faultless over years of ownership. But for Angel's sister Frankie, the Z4 is too small and my beloved 130i, to use her words, looks like a shoe. So the 3 Series it is. There's heaps of 325i and 335i's in New Zealand, but for some reason there's hardly any of the much rarer middle cousin. But the 330i is quite a cool car because it's much faster than the 325, but you don't have to worry about the complicated turbos that the 335i comes with. As a result, it's a nice middle ground, being the most reliable E90 you can buy that still offers decent performance. Me and Jack caught a flight to Auckland where we collected an ex-police ZB Commodore that you'll be seeing on the channel soon, and this 330i. Of course, because it's from Turner's, they brought it to me on a forklift, but to my surprise, despite the horrendous exterior condition, it fired right up and we hit the road home. After scanning the car, we determined all the traction control related lights were caused by the steering angle sensor plausibility. In short, the wheel alignment was so out that the car determined it was improbable you were turning right for hours on end, so threw lights all over the dash. After a wheel alignment, they all went away. And fortunately, that coolant leak I talked about started after we made it back, and I determined that the plastic radiator housing had formed a hairline crack on the left-hand side. So I went on a parts hunting trip and began by sourcing a new silver front bumper. Ideally I wanted an M Sport one, but unfortunately there were none available. I also got a used pre-facelift HID Angel Eye headlight, a black door mirror, and Frankie requested that I change all of the ugly old man wooden interior trim for the nice silver M Sport type. And what a score! I found a few dollary doos under the ashtray. Finally, I got a used radiator, and with all of the parts retrieved, me and Jack set to work getting them all installed. The first job was to replace the radiator. We started by undoing all of the bolts holding on the intake, and with the oil cooler detached, the fan came right out. Then we popped off all 4 radiator hoses and slid the old broken radiator out. To make things easier, we also removed the front bumper by undoing dozens of bolts around the under tray, in the wheel arches and under the bonnet. With that removed, reinstalling the new radiator was easy enough, sliding it in, popping all of the radiator hoses back on, and then reinstalling the fan and intake. With the broken headlight out, I had to do some swapping of components to get the new one to work, like the Angel Eye bulb and a few watertight covers. But with the light plugged in and working, we bolted that in and then reinstalled the bumper. After swapping the number plate over, the whole front end was back together and it looked heaps better. Then I removed what was left of the old mirror housing and bolted the new one on with 3 bolts behind the tweeter on the door. And aside from cleaning, that's the exterior sorted. So then I moved inside and set to work swapping over all of the wooden interior trim.
Fortunately, it's very easy to replace and pops off easily with the twist of a screwdriver. I replaced all 4 door trims, the center console trim around the shift knob and iDrive controller, and the dashboard trim around the air vents. I also re-glued a few bits of fabric on the headliner and the sunroof, and that totally transformed the look of the interior. Now, it's time to start cleaning and polishing. Something about BMW carpet just makes it super easy to clean. Unlike the Subaru, or worse, Mazda carpet I've dealt with in the past, everything just vacuumed right up in this car. So, with all of the carpets cleaned, I then used my new detailing brushes to tackle all of the disgusting vents and cubbies. With the carpets vacuumed, windows wiped, and plastics cleaned, it was time to move on to the exterior. I knew the exterior would look a lot better after a wash, but I was still left with the dilemma of what to do about the wheels. I had a go at painting them, but struggled to get the paint to stick to the already clear-coated metal surface. So, short of sanding and fully repainting them, I was left with no choice but to just leave them. But the exhaust tips came up really well after soaking them in terps and then using some metal polish to bring them back to a sparkly shine. Once I'd cleaned every nook and cranny, I then set to work clay barring the whole exterior, getting off all of the tar and contaminants, ready for a thorough polish. There were some substantial scratches on the new bumper and all down the passenger side that thankfully, after a whole day's polishing, came up good as new. And so, with the car cleaned inside and out and the paintwork polished, the 330i was finally ready to go off to its new home.
.330i. Let's put the N52 to work. Oh, what an engine. That brings back some fond memories of my 130i. But of course this time around we have an automatic transmission and we're in a 3 Series. But that's certainly not a bad thing, because BMWs just have a sensational driving experience. Just for every car I have fixed up and rebuilt, I've driven down this road, and already the sound of the straight six, the really fast steering, but it's not like Tesla fast where it's kind of annoyingly quick and you don't have much control. This, it's reasonably slow on center, so it's still controllable, but then as you get into the corner it ramps up so that you don't have to cross your hands over to get through some of the sharper turns. It's absolutely genius. Hydraulic steering, so you know exactly what it's doing, and the transmission. Rev matches up and down, the power, fantastic, all the way to 7,000 RPM. And on the Bridgestone tyres this thing has got, the handling is fantastic. Look at that, only half a turn required to go through this hairpin bend. Oh, rear wheel drive. And just the stability at speed, it manages to feel sporty while still being compliant. It doesn't beat you up over bumps, but it also doesn't roll too much. I don't know how BMW does it, where they just get every single driving dynamic of their cars absolutely nailed. I know full well I'm biased towards BMW, but genuinely, you've got to drive one of these and you will understand that there is just something about the way that these cars drive. So balanced and stable, but also really fun. Does it get any better than that? And these ones aren't even that unreliable. Yes, I had a cracked radiator, not ideal, I know, but the engine, faultless. And as I mentioned, I've owned plenty of N52s and none of them have given me any grief. If you want a fantastic driving and reasonably reliable but still extremely affordable and fantastic value for money BMW, something from this era with the N52, you just can't beat it. So there we go, thanks very much for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.